Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to the 159th episode of Shochu'sday, Kanpai from both of us here in Japan. I'm here with Maya Aley. Maya, good morning.
Good
Your bottle
morning.
of tea.
With my bottle, yes, tea. We've got some coffee, convenience store coffee.
Convenience store coffee. Down here, for the record, Family Mart coffee is terrible, and they don't even accept the coupon. It's a long story. So I have resorted to Lawson coffee, which is far superior, and there's the closest convenience store is Lawson anyway, so
But
it's a
but they
coincidence.
have awamori in their coffee at the convenience stores, don't they?
They do have those. Yes, you're right. They have these little RTDs. They're little cups, paper probably lined cups with almost like a sippy cup approach to it. I think they might even have straws that you can poke through the
Sippy,
foil.
alcoholic
Um,
sippy cups. That's
yeah, they're not particularly boozy, but as we've discussed before, awamori and coffee do go very well together. So it's not surprising that they put that on the shelf. Have you ever had it?
no adult boozy sippy cups coffee with coffee for me. No.
There's lots of little boozy cups of sweet potato shochu in Kagoshima. Am I right?
Yes, they are, but I've had those, but I don't really love coffee, so I think I would just take my boozy sippy cup by itself and
Okay,
not add the bitter coffee things to it.
very fair, very fair. For those of you out there who consider yourself uninitiated, Maya Aley is a shochu expert residing in Kagoshima City, Kagoshima Prefecture. She's also the top dog at Roku Shochu Bar, and that keeps her incredibly busy. How are things going at the bar these days?
Good. We're getting into Hanami season, as you know, Christopher, and
Hmm.
so we're seeing an influx of some foreign visitors coming back now to travel around to see, trace to follow the Hanamis, to follow the cherry blossoms, the sakura, and
Yeah.
March is uh, job transfer season. So all the people wearing suits come for their final farewells and to see off their coworkers who are transferring. So March is a busy season.
Yeah, that's a good point. We were just walking past a real estate agent in Naha, where I am currently, yesterday, and they put up, there was a little board explaining like now's a great time to be in the market for real estate
Yeah,
because everybody's playing, they're
everyone's
trading
moving.
shares. Yeah. So it's true. It is a season. February, March, April, big time for house hunting, both on the rental market and I guess, on the straight up sales market. But anyway, well, welcome back to the show, Maya. It's
Yes.
been a few months, and we haven't been particularly consistent with
You've
the
been on
Tuesday.
hiatus for a while.
That's correct. We try to sneak one of these in when we can, and when we can is not very often because, for instance, Stephen is currently in the United States. He's in Minneapolis, or maybe he's on his way to New York and then on his way to DC. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah.
we have a very difficult time synchronizing when we can do these things. And while I used to take them, I used to, beam in from the streets of New York with my phone resting on the door handle of a police
Yes,
car.
you did
Uh,
that. I did see that.
yes, I don't do that anymore, and I don't. It's just it's too noisy, and I don't love it being completely unprepared. So today we're more prepared. We got things to
Yes,
talk about. We got things to
yes,
announce, and so I'm just going to throw the booze news up there right now. And by the way, please share with us what you're sipping on right now. If you are sipping on anything, throw it in the comments, and we'd love to hear from you. Lots of things happening. Let's start with a few events. I just mentioned Stephen being in, um, at least on the East Coast right now, and he has an event coming up at Bazaar in DC, which is a Jose Andres property, of course. And that can be found. I'm going to be doing this a little bit, so I'll get good at it real quick. I'm going to show my screen, and because I did find there it is, share that. This is a cherry blossom honkaku dinner at the Bazaar
ooh,
DC, right in line with what Maya was saying about cherry blossom season. It is cherry blossom season in the United States as well, of course, March
hmm
21st, which is obviously tomorrow, but for our time, that's going to be Thursday in the United States, 6:30 p.m. You can get tickets if you go to thebazaar.com. And I'm going to put this in the chat right now so that people have it if they want it. I think this would be an excellent event to go and experience the cross pollination, if I could use that phrase, of Hanami meets Shochu culture. Here we go. Put that in there. That should
The
go out to
perfect
both.
cross pollination.
Yeah. So there's that happening, which I think is exciting. I'm sorry I won't be able to go to that.
Is
And
Stephen
then
the bee in this analogy? Is
is
he
he
the
the
pollinator?
is he the bee? He is the bee, isn't he? He's the busy buzzing bee.
Yeah.
He's the big boy that is he's the Pied that's P's Pied Piper. He's spreading the pollen. Yes, I think
Let's
so.
let's stop there.
I could keep going for a while. You know how this works in my brain. Following up on that, another uh, Hanami event that's coming up very soon. In fact, it's Sunday. If you happen to be in Japan, if you happen to be more specifically in Tokyo on Sunday, we have the quasi-annual. We did have to let it rest during the pandemic, but this is probably the fifth or the sixth time that we've done it. Kanpai Planet times or X Japan Distilled Hanami in Yoyogi Park. If the weather participates, it plays along this year. Last year, we did have to move it inside, and it worked out incredibly well. I hope we don't have to do that again because I would love to be under the cherry trees again. Another screen share, if this thing will let me find. Um, where is it? There it is. Found it.
I wish I could come.
And
I'm bummed I cannot come.
you made it to like the
One
second
of
or
the
the
early
third
ones,
iteration.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which and it was lovely to have you at the party. This is tickets are still available. Now you can get either a lean or a large ticket. Lean gives you access to my little show to an Aomori pop-up bar that'll be right in the center of the park under a cherry tree. And large gets you that plus some pours from the Baird brewing setup that will be adjacent to my shochu bar. So it'll be fun. Bring your food, bring your friends, grab tickets, and see you on Sunday in Yoyogi
Yay.
Park. Yay! So that's coming up. Stop sharing that. Now back to this. What else do we have? Oh, you've got some news. Look at this
Oh.
thing. I wasn't even really aware of this. Tell us
Yes.
more about Shochu Bistro Go.
Uh, so my bar Roku is the second shop in the Ishizue family, Bar Ishizue, which you always come visit when you have
Right?
time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we get actually a lot of visitors who say they saw or heard something about Ishizue and Roku. A shout out on this Japan Distilled. So thank you and Stephen for the shout outs always. Uh, whoever's listening,
Absolutely.
if you've been, thank you for coming. And so we're opening a third location in Tenmonkan, Kagoshima City, downtown next month. And it'll be Shochu Bistro Go. Go is the character for like hometown in Kyoto Ryori hometown cuisine, local cuisine, or furusato. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a food bar. We have two chefs, and we're coming up with like izakaya style menus, but also we're going to have, I think, about 160 bottles of shochu available, all Kagoshima shochu.
Of course.
So we are I'm visiting the construction site every afternoon and deciding where to put this shelf and where to put this decoration, and things are
Which
in with
general area? Sorry.
it's literally on the road in between Ishizue and Roku.
Oh, it's like
It's
okay. So it's that
it's
cross
that
street
one road,
across.
that one road. It's two doors
Gotcha.
down from Noriichi Ramen.
Oh, I know exactly where that is. Okay, that's
Yeah,
exciting. So it's a little
yeah,
closer to you
yeah. It's
than it
closer to
is
Roku. Yeah,
to Ishizue.
yes.
So
So
you're going to
we're
be running back
opening.
and forth, is what that sounds like to me.
Yes, yes. I am in charge of the managing things, so we'll see how it goes.
How's everything going with hiring? I know you guys are always looking for good people, like everyone is. How tough is that
Every
right now?
they're like, you put it out there, and people like will apply, or they'll give you a phone call and then like not show up for the interview, or it's just like it's very kind of much more casual than it used to be, I think. So I think about people actually applying, like people used to take it a lot more seriously when you were applying for a job. And I think whether, I don't know if this is a global change, or I don't really know if how it is in the States anymore, but people are just kind of like, yeah, like I'll just show up. Oh no, I'm just not gonna show up today. Like it's very
Yeah, the
like
flake
irresponsible.
factor
Yeah.
I think has definitely increased from what I've heard from folks who are in a similar walk of life in the United States. They have a hard time finding good people, um, keeping good people, even just
Yeah.
getting people to show up and do what they promised to do is
Yeah.
not as easy as it used to be.
And
So
yeah, and Kagoshima has like the second lowest, tied for lowest um daily or hourly wage in the country,
is that
because each
right?
prefecture has a different minimum wage, and Kagoshima
I
is
didn't know
like
that.
bottom, second from the bottom,
What's
third from the bottom.
what's number one bottom?
It's probably Okinawa, to be fair.
It probably
It's
is
somewhere in
Okinawa. I don't
Kyushu
know
or
why I asked that question.
Okinawa.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
I think
Oh
it's
wow,
somewhere in this. It's all down here in the south. It's all down here in the south. It's
interesting.
not even. I think it's not even 1,000 yen. It's in the 800s or 900s now.
Yeah,
And they increased it. They're like, we increased the minimum wage by 37 yen. I was like, but it's still the lowest in the country. Oops.
you guys aren't impressing anybody here.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's exciting. I know this must be really stressful for you though, because
yes,
you're
busy.
trying to manage a bar and then trying to open another bar at the same time. So good luck with that. I can't wait
Thank
to
you.
hear more. I can't wait to
Yes.
visit. Unfortunately, I probably will not be there for the opening
No
unless
worries.
everything gets delayed until like late June or early July, which I hope it doesn't, because that means
Better
things
to
will go
always
very sideways.
come after things have calmed down anyway. Opening night
Fair.
though is always a hassle.
Gotcha. Well, that's super exciting.
Thank you.
More things for us to tell people about, more good things for us to tell people about. We do have also a new episode up on Japan Distilled, and that is the most recent of the episodes. This one is about Aloha Whiskey in
Ooh.
Ikebukuro, which is a really good whiskey bar. And Stephen went and interviewed the. Hold on, let me find this. There it is. Found it. Um, I think this is the best place to get your. If you go directly to the Japan Distilled website, I think this is the best place to get your Japan Distilled content, because it has the show notes here, which don't really show up in this level of deep depth and detail anywhere else on the internet. So you can get a whole lot more about the backstory and David Tsujimoto, who is running the bar, and how it all came to be. So go check that out. Another another one for the record books. Let me put that in the comments as well. I know my face must look ridiculous right now because I'm just looking around like I've never done this before, and I've done it a million times and I still don't remember how to do it. Anyway, okay, I think is that all the news that I have in the queue? I think it might be. So we're going to go on to now the main thing, which
Yay.
is technically big news as well.
Very
And
big news.
it's pretty interesting stuff. The whole new GI that just came out, that was just announced, and that's been in the works for a while. Um, but I don't know where to start. Tokyo Shimazake is the drinks world's newest GI. I guess maybe what we should start with is, what the hell is a GI, Maya?
Geographic indication. What is the ending on that
Yeah,
word?
it's an indication. Yeah,
Indication.
yeah.
So like champagne, or the ones currently in for shochu are of course Satsuma, where I live. We've got
Uh-huh.
Iki in Nagasaki, and
Right.
we've got Kuma in Kumamoto, and
Mm-hmm.
then Ryukyu Awamori, where you are today, and then the new baby Tokyo Shimazake.
Yeah.
Welcome to the GI family. Yay!
So a GI for those who don't know what this is, it's kind of like an AOC. It's a protected style that is very closely connected to the region where it is made. So, for instance, Maya is in Kagoshima. There's a style of sweet potato shochu from there called Satsuma shochu. It has to be made in Satsuma, which is now Kagoshima. It has to be made with local spuds, and everything has to be done locally. And it so much of the quality of that product is tied into the location and, dare I say it, the terroir. So this is what has happened with this new iteration, Tokyo Shimazake. Maya, what does Shimazake roughly translate as?
So island liquor, island alcohol.
Hmm.
So it's very, very vague because you're like, what? Well, what island liquor? Okay, but the
Yeah,
islands of Tokyo are a very specific cultural uh, anomaly. Can we say that?
very true. There's a lot of history to unravel in there. And
Yeah.
Shimazake is used around the country. I mean, every year Okinawa has something called the Shimazake Festa. So it's, their island alcohol party. So Shimazake is a term that's used all the time, which is why they appended Tokyo to the
Yeah.
front. So it's Tokyo Shimazake is the GI, the technical term. I don't know what the logo looks like yet. I don't know if that's actually, it's probably
I
been
haven't seen it.
revealed.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't either. I don't think. I just went to a Tokyo Shimazake event a few
You
weeks
did?
ago.
You? Yes.
Before, yeah, and so there was no that I was paying attention to or that got into my earpiece. I didn't hear anything about. There was no buzz about this, so I don't know if everybody was
I
being
don't think
tight-lipped or
they knew when it was going to come down, maybe. It was obviously in the works. They'd been applying for it, but they didn't know when it would be approved by the
yeah,
WTO or the
I'm sure
is it
that
the WTO or the
that's
Japanese government? Yeah. Government.
it's the WTO, and then also
Yeah.
the Japanese government is the ones who officially announced it. I'm sure it's
Mm.
somewhere on the WTO's website, but let's talk a little bit more about what exactly Tokyo Shimazake is. This is a, it's a style that's been around for a while. It's not as old as Awamori or as Satsuma Shochu, but it's a well over a century in the making.
Mm.
And it's by the rules of this GI. The GIs all have very strict rules of what it is and what it is not. And what Tokyo Shimazake is shochu made on this string of islands, the Izu Shoto, the Izu Islands stretching south out of Tokyo Bay, kind of arcing southeast a little bit. And the islands that are considered to be in the running for this GI are from um, Oshima, which is the first big stop on the ferry once you leave the bay, out to Aogashima, which is essentially a volcanic
Yeah.
pimple that about
Crater.
less than
Crater.
200, yeah, 200 people live on, but they make shochu there. And the shochu from these islands is made with barley koji. So all of the shochu has to be mugi koji, and then and using locally sourced water. And then you've got a little bit of R's and L's, a little bit of flexibility. There's essentially three main styles that are made on the islands. There's barley koji barley shochu. There's barley koji sweet potato shochu, which is funky, and then there's blends of the two. But everything is barley koji essentially, and it is a really interesting old style. Have you tried much of it, Maya?
Yeah. I've had a couple. Now when you ask me, I can't remember the name, but I think the Hachijojima is included, right?
Hachijojima has four shochu
I think I've
distilleries
had
on it.
a couple of those ones, and then
You're
maybe
most likely to have had that.
Aochu, Aochu.
Aochu is yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Aochu in the past. It is a double wild fermentation, so wild koji, wild yeast. It's amazing. It is funky as hell, and it goes really well with the local cuisine, which tends to also be very hearty,
Funky.
and in some cases funky and preserved. And there's so much history wrapped up in Tokyo Shimazake, uh, as was true in many parts of the world up until quite recently. Some parts of the world are used as essentially open penal colonies. You know, you just chuck people there that you don't want to deal with. You exile them there. And why don't you tell your side of the story, and then I'll give what I've learned.
like
How did
like I'm
Shochu get to these freaking far-flung islands? There's great fishing around them, but there's a really strong current. So you would be very hard pressed to get on or off these islands in any meaningful way and survive without a massive vessel.
Yes, so the massive vessels some of them belonged to our friends down here in Kagoshima, the Satsuma clan, uh,
Hmm.
who also we have the current Kagoshima prefecture is 600 kilometers north to south. So a lot of the islands going down to Okinawa are included. So they always had seafaring skills, and they
Yeah.
used the Amami Islands where we have Kokuto shochu, of course. Those
Hmm.
are also your penal exile colonies. So a
Hmm.
lot of famous political, shall we say, uh, people got sent to their rooms and they got sent to islands. Uh, and then a couple years
Yeah.
later, they'd be like brought back, be like, oh no, we're going to forget about it. And then they'd be sent to another island, a different island instead. So there's a lot of interesting history there. But they also, during the Edo period, uh, mid late 1600s to early 1800s, roughly
Hmm.
about. Some of the Satsuma people got sent to the Tokyo Islands as punishment.
Oh,
And
wow.
I guess when you're sent on exile, you're allowed to bring liquor with you. Apparently, uh, they, they let you bring some of that, and so shochu was apparently taught to the people on the Tokyo Islands from Satsuma people. They were like, we're
That's
gonna
correct.
make this shochu, but they didn't have a lot of rice going on because Kagoshima usually uses rice koji.
Hmm.
So they used the barley koji and then the sweet potato as the main fermentation, which is a very
Hmm.
unique kind of
Incredibly
compromise.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if that's really done anywhere else in the country. Barley, koji, sweet potato, shochu. It is
yeah,
a very interesting blend of those two ingredients.
yeah. So they brought the distillation technology, the stills, and all that kind of stuff. They're like, I
Hmm.
think they just cobbled it together from what they had. Maybe I don't think they
Yeah.
put an
Well,
actual
that's
still on the boat.
yep. So I've dug into this quite a bit and I have visited several of these
Mm.
islands, and I'm actually going to Oshima next week. But on Hachijojima, there's a monument to the Kagoshiman, the Satsuma guy,
The
who
guy.
is credited with bringing distillation to the islands because he got chucked over there. Long story short, there was a gentleman named Shoemon Tanso who was a pretty high up maritime trader for the Satsuma clan, and the shogunate figured out that money was tight towards the end of the Edo period. It was tight for the shogunate. It was tight for the Satsuma clan as well, and the Shimazu and they were breaking some of the rules, shall we say? They were smuggling,
Being
and
naughty, naughty boys.
they were illicitly trading. I think it might have been with Ryukyu, and they were doing things that was not expressly allowed. And so this very well respected guy, Mr. Tanso, was exiled to Hachijojima. Now, I didn't realize this until quite recently, but there was actually no alcohol allowed on the island when he got there and this is because, not because it couldn't be brought in, because they're volcanic islands, rice didn't really grow there. So
Mm.
any foodstuffs, and then at that time, really, it was rice and rice only up in up in the northern parts of the country for making alcohol. That any grains could never be used to make alcohol. In comes this guy from Satsuma, and sweet potatoes had been brought up north. They were always struggling on these islands. Food sustainability was a real big issue. Poverty was incredible. There was a evolving cast of characters on these islands. They tended to intermingle with the locals, and anyways, you have these cultures evolving. Sometimes people left when they were pardoned. Sometimes they came back. And Tanso got there, and he's like, "Oh shoot, this is the same terrain as where I grew up. It's a
Mm.
volcanic." piece of land, and sweet potatoes grow here like weeds. Barley might survive here. So he inquired and he said, "Hey, can if we can make alcohol from sweet potatoes, not rice, we won't touch the rice. If we can make it from sweet potatoes, can we make alcohol here?" And he got the official okay from the shogunate. And so then he had still imported. I don't know how you call that favor in, but he had that shipped up from the south. And he taught the locals how to make sweet potato shochu using barley koji, and it changed everything on the islands, and it soon spread to other islands, and they started making this style of shochu too. And he's credited with completely changing the entire thing down there because now they had something they could enjoy. Now they had something they could sell. They it it revolutionized the economy. It made everything more stable. And he was there from like 1853 until he was there for 15 years, I think, in
Towards
one
the end of the
capacity or
Edo
another.
period. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, right at the end, and then he was pardoned and he left. But he's revered to this day. So to Mr. Tanso, I guess we owe a
Cheers. Cheers to
kanpai.
him.
Your legacy lives on, buddy. Now there's something called Tokyo Shimazake that has grown out of that tradition of shochu making on those remote islands, which are pretty amazing places. But anyways,
There's
uh,
no
uh,
airport on those islands. On any, is there? There's like a heliport. Is there an airport? Airport?
sorry, there
Is there an
is.
airport?
Yeah, Hachijojima has both an airport and a heliport and a ferry terminal. Where'd you go?
Oh, we're here.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Oh.
So yeah, it's this Hachijojima is kind of the nexus, the birthplace of this Tokyo Shimazake style. And then there's a few other distilleries on other islands in the chain. The ferry that I take all the time goes like Oshima, Toshima, uh, Nijima, Shikinejima. I think there might be one that goes all the way from Tokyo to Hachijojima, but that's a bit of a haul. It's better to just take a
Yeah.
flight. And then if you want to go to Aogashima from Hachijojima, you're taking a ferry, which is dicey, or you're taking a helicopter, which they'll cancel depending on the wind at a moment's notice because it's hard to get on and off that island. And there's like 185 people that live there now, and they're all like 400 years old. So,
They probably knew
but
Tanso. Probably his friends.
they did. He was probably a good friend. So yeah, Mr. Tanso, hats off to you yet again,
Yes.
and
Thank you for
very excited.
spreading the sweet potato love. I wore my sweet potato T-shirt today. Those of you who
You
can read
did. What does
Japanese.
that say, Maya?
どちらかと
Dochira.
言えば芋派です.
Emo
Team
Hadis.
sweet potato. Team sweet
Yeah,
potato. Hashtag Team sweet potato.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut right now because I'm down in Okinawa and I'm not allowed to say such things. But
We're talking about
I,
Shimazake, so in between the two, I think the sweet potato is a more interesting one. That's
fair enough, fair enough. And they have started to incorporate that back. They've revived down here the imuge uh, style of sweet potato meets rice meets kokuto, which is very interesting. There's like 5, 6, 7 distilleries making it again now, which is quite fun. Anyway, mad respect and glad that there's another GI to celebrate. So now 5 in the traditional spirits world of Japan. And as Maya said before, all connected to specific locales of the country and protected internationally by the WTO. So fantastic.
We have. I learned recently, by the way, that the
Mm-hmm.
mark itself, like the Satsuma Shochu mark. Do I have it? Do I have it? No. It's we got approval when we opened reopened Roku last summer, and we redid our
Mm-hmm.
sign, and we got approval from the Kagoshima Prefectural Shochu Makers Association to put the Satsuma Shochu mark on our signage. So we
Yep.
have both the Satsuma Shochu and the Awamori, not the Amami Kokuto Shochu mark on our
Okay.
signs.
Yeah.
So we were the
Yes.
first place that asked for permission and received actual official
Yeah,
permission.
that's right. You are supposed to ask.
Yeah.
I learned that every new brand of Satsuma Shochu does have to petition for the right to use it. And then once you have it, you can put it on your label other expressions of that particular brand. But every new brand that a Satsuma shochu maker makes should go through the review process. I don't know if that actually happens, but we ourselves had to ask for permission.
Yeah. So we're the only ones, the only food and service industry that have it officially approved to be on our signage. So
well,
maybe
good for you.
I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool if more people like use the signage to make it more visible in town. I think.
I totally agree with you. And the shochu kettle is awesome.
I have one somewhere. Hold on, I have one somewhere.
I'm sure you have it on the back of a bottle. I'm excited to see what the Shimazake one is going to look like. There it is. There it is. Shochu kettle shaped like a sweet potato.
Yes. These are the official. I've refound these in my this is Kumiai box with official Satsuma Shochu Oyuwari glasses.
There it is.
Yes.
Those are precious. Love it.
So I don't know where these came from. I don't know why I have them. What event I got them from, but
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the Shimazake logo. However, that'll be fun.
And it's not on their website yet, so I think there's probably going to be a reveal party later this month. I did get invited to some sort of party that I can't go to because I'm going to be back down here. So I think maybe there's going to be a celebration of that coming up next week. Next week, I think, probably at the end of next week. Well, cool. Let's see. Moving on to the end of this little thing. Do you have anything that's either newly opened or something that you recently destroyed?
So I don't drink a whole lot at home. I have a bunch of things that I need to open soon. These
okay.
Without being too specific about them.
Yeah, that's for judging everybody.
Yes. Without being too specific what's in them, but I have a bunch of Ziploc baggies with very small bottles that need to be gone through by this Sunday. I think is the deadline. So
no, isn't it? Oh, it is this Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, I've got a bunch too. I gotta go through. I'm gonna start that this afternoon.
Yes. Are you gonna change the banner? We're still talking about Shimazake.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Newly opened or
I don't want to confuse people. And I guess I'll mention this. I haven't opened it because I don't think I will open it. But I have a bottle. You're talking about Aloha whiskey, and he's probably got a bottle of this on his shelf.
Ontake.
This is Ontake single malt Japanese whiskey made by Nishi Shuzo, which makes Tomino Hozan, the Hozan series of shochu, sweet potato shochu, which are available in the States, I think.
They are.
They've got some. And the Tenshi no Yuwaku, Angel's Temptation, if they translate it.
Yeah.
And this is their first edition, just came out in January, their first 3-year aged whiskey. And it's got this beautiful package of Sakurajima there on the front.
That is very nice looking.
And it's 100% sherry cask, and they also use sherry for their Tenshi no Yuwaku, so they're staying in the one lane, and they're not straying from it. Yeah.
Is it age stated on the package?
No.
It's not. Okay. So it's just a young whiskey. Gotcha.
Because they just had their 4th anniversary, so it's like a 3 to 3.5 year product, but there's no age statement. No. But it's first.
Did you go out and buy it?
Yes. Also, I won the lottery on their website.
You won the right to be able to buy a bottle.
Yes, I entered
the
lottery.
How much did that set you back?
The retail price for this bottle, which is 700 and however many it's 700 milliliters at 43%, which I think is, quite frankly, I would have preferred them to have a little bit more of a higher proof for their first edition. But retail price is 14,300 something yen. So
that seems to be
$100 more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But if for a 43%, so it seems a bit of an investment, but
it's dear.
Anyway, it's dear.
Well, hey, proof's in the pudding. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
But you're not going to open it, so we'll never know.
Well, I've had it. I have had it because we do have it at the bar as well. So we've got some bottles at the bar.
Oh, okay.
I have enjoyed it. I have just not. This is for keeping.
Your personal bottle. Well, I have a recently opened. This is called Kokka.
Ooh.
This is an Awamori, the Ippanshu from Tsukayama Shuzosho up in Nago, I guess is where the place that I visited. And the distillery itself is fascinating. The drink is great. The distillery is fascinating because during the war they showed an aerial view of that area, and they didn't touch the distillery because apparently the Americans wanted to use it afterwards as a and you go inside. It's now a protected facility, a protected structure. It still looks like it did back in the 40s, and there's just kind of written on one of the door jambs right above where people walk through, it says officers quarters in English on it. So it's like, oh wow, there's some history
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And so the distillery is pretty much as it was back then, which is awesome to see. So, ancient ass pot still, and they're not allowed to change anything really because it's a protected site. It's a historical site now. So it's pretty cool. They still make awamori there. Not a whole lot of it, but fortunately I got to go in and hear the story and
Very cool.
meet the people who make it. Yeah. Bottle kill, if I may be so bold, is going to be my bottle of Ippanshu from Chuko.
Ah,
Chuko is
cool.
the makers of Yokka Koji, and this is the only distillery in the world that also has a pottery studio in the center of it. It's
Very
they
cool.
make
There,
their
I
own
like.
aging vessels.
Yeah, I haven't been because I haven't been to Okinawa in probably about 10 years. But I'd like to see Chuko. That'd be cool.
Very easy spot to get out to from Naha anyway. It's actually walkable from the closest monorail station if you're really that brave. But it's not a bad taxi ride or a bus, and it's definitely worth it. The tasting at the end is fun at the end of the tour. They've got this huge aging facility that is the largest wooden structure in all of Okinawa. It'll be the second largest once they rebuild Shuri,
Mm.
but it's a pretty cool distillery. Great people, very very innovative, and just lovely to hang out with. So definitely worth a trip. All right. Anything else that we missed or
Did you want to
need to
mention
go over?
one of the Miyazaki events are coming up? Did
Yeah,
you
I
mention? Did you
wasn't
forget
able
them?
to track that one down. Did you know what? Did you?
And I want to say it's this weekend somewhere. There was a Shochu Yanagida-san's Instagram, maybe,
Let me check that real quick.
or Mariko-san's, Noguchi-san's.
Oh,
Social, I think. Anyway, there's
yeah,
there's a lot of
I'm sure you're right.
there's a lot of we just had last weekend. There's the spring Haru Satsuma Shochu, so they had a couple events promoting that. I actually gave a talk to the Shochu Makers Association Technical Research Committee. They have like different committees and groups, and they asked me to give a chat, a lecture. That was fun.
About what?
about whatever I wanted to talk about. But I gave my point of view as a foreigner working in a shochu bar in Tenmokan and what I think
Okay,
about it.
well,
And
that's there's only really
but
one
I was like, oh, I have
one
to make
person
a
with that perspective.
yeah, it's me, it's me.
Yep,
So I had to make a PowerPoint, but that was fun. And then I was the only. There was 3 lectures on the day, and I was the only one where they actually got audience questions. So I feel proud of myself for that.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's always a good sign.
notoriously shy Japanese people who don't raise their hands for questions. So
You less scary than
yeah,
all the other speakers, obviously.
the other
Well,
people, the other people
I'm
listening.
looking for this information. I'm not gonna be able to find it quickly, and then this is not doesn't make for good TV when I'm just like looking
Okay.
across my screen like this the whole time. So, yeah, allegedly there is something happening in Miyazaki this weekend. There's a lot of events going on this weekend. I don't know what it is about the 23rd and 24th of March this year, but it's busy with stuff going on. And today is actually a public holiday here in Japan. So
Yes.
if you have the day off, bless your cotton socks. Maya and I do not. I don't think. Maya, you don't.
No,
Nope.
no, I do
So
not. It's
back
the
to the
was it
grindstone for
first
us.
first day of spring equinox, I think, is it? Yeah.
Yep. And so far, it's the coldest day this week in Naha.
Windy.
But
It is so windy here.
yep, same here. But the sun's out, so that's good enough for me. Anyway, thank you. Thanks a ton, Maya, for
Yes.
joining us on
Lovely to see
this
you
episode
again.
of lovely to see you too. This episode of Show Tuesday, and hopefully it's not too long again before we're able to talk directly. But it could be a couple of moons anyway. From both of us here in Japan, beaming in live to all of you watching this now or later, a very hearty and heartfelt Kanpai.
Goodbye.